A chill October wind snaked through the streets of Gettysburg as Lena Carter stepped out of her rental car, her breath fogging in the pre-dawn gloom. The town clung to its history like a corpse refusing to rot, preserved, polished, and sold to tourists hungry for ghost stories. But Lena wasn't here for folklore. She was here for facts. Daniel Reeves' motel room was frozen in time-unmade bed, half-packed bag, a stale coffee cup still sweating condensation. The police had found no signs of struggle, no evidence of foul play, just a missing man and his last known possession, a high-end digital camera left charging on the nightstand. Lena powered on the camera. The last photo was a blur of motion, a figure in a tattered Union uniform, its eyes two smudges of unnatural light. Then she found the video file, labeled with tomorrow's date. Asterisk. The footage showed Daniel, his face gaunt and terrified, standing in the middle of the battlefield at night. His skin sagged, wrinkles deepening like sped-up decay. His mouth opened in a silent scream as his hair whitened, teeth loosening, until, in a blink, he was gone. The timestamp read, October 31st, 11:59 p.m., the night of the next blood moon. Asterisk. At a diner, an elderly waitress eyed the camera and crossed herself. "That's the third one this year," she muttered. When Lena pressed her, the woman leaned in, her breath sour with fear. "They say the watchers take folks who look too close. Ain't just soldiers in those lights. There's something older underneath Gettysburg, hungrier." Back in her room, Lena reviewed the footage again. But this time, the video ended differently. After Daniel vanished, the camera panned left, revealing a shadowed figure now standing at the edge of the frame. It raised a skeletal hand and pointed directly at the lens, at her. The screen glitched to black. When it flickered back on, the video file was gone. Lena's phone buzzed. A notification from her cloud storage. One new video sensed. She opened it, a shaky, dark clip of herself, standing in the same spot where Daniel disappeared, her face twisted in terror. The timestamp, tomorrow night. Lena woke with a gasp, her hotel room bathed in the sickly yellow glow of dawn. The sheets were damp with sweat, her throat raw had she been screaming. The nightmare clung to her like cobwebs, skeletal hands dragging her into a well, the air thick with the coppery stench of blood. She reached for her phone to check the time, then froze. The screen showed a missed call from her own number. A Gettysburg battlefield at sunset was a postcard of eerie, beauty-rolling hills dotted with monuments, the air humming with the weight of history. But as Lena walked the fields, her recorder running, the atmosphere shifted. The wind carried whispers, not in the trees, but in her ear, as if someone stood just behind her. Then she saw them, flickering lanterns, bobbing in formation where no living person walked. A spectral regiment, marching in silence. Her recorder caught the crunch of boots on frost, the jangle of spurs, but when she looked down, the ground was untouched. Back in her car, Lena played back the audio. The whispers resolved into a single guttural command: "Find the well." Her blood turned to ice. The voice was hers, but she'd never spoken those words. She rewound the clip. This time, the whisper was different. "You're already dead." Again, her voice. Again, words she'd never said. At a dimly lit bar, Lena cornered a grizzled Civil War reenactor, nursing a whiskey. When she mentioned the well, his face went gray. "Only one well's cursed around here," he muttered. "The Confederates used it for ... other things. They called it the Echo Well, said it could talk back." Before she could press him, he grabbed her wrist. His grip was freezing. "But it ain't water you'll find down there now." His eyes flickered for a second. The pupils were vertical, like a goat's. Exhausted, Lena stumbled into her motel bathroom. As she splashed water on her face, the mirror fogged, except for 2 handprints, as if someone had pressed against the glass from the other side. Then her reflection smiled and spoke. "He lied about the well," it whispered. "It doesn't talk. It eats." Lena smashed the mirror. When the shards hit the floor, they formed a single word in the glass. "Run." Asterisk under the motel bed, Lena found a rusted Union bullet freshly dropped, as if shot from a ghostly rifle. Wrapped around it was a scrap of paper, the ink still damp. "The well waits. So does Holloway." The Gettysburg Historical Society smelled of dust, damp paper, and something darker like old blood soaked into wood. Lena had bribed the night janitor to let her in after hours, her flashlight cutting through the gloom as she descended into the basement. Daniel's research had led him here before he vanished. Now it was her turn. The archive was a maze of filing cabinets and crates marked Estate Holloway, J to 1863. Her fingers brushed a rusted lockbox hidden behind a stack of pension records. Inside lay Daniel's journal, its leather cover cracked with age, though he'd only been gone a week. The journal's early pages were meticulous Daniel's notes on ghost lights, spectral photography, and local legends. But halfway through, the writing grew frantic, the ink blotted as if by sweat or tears. "The lights aren't just spirits. They're a door," and something came through. Then the last entry. Lena's breath caught. The handwriting was hers. The date, next Thursday. The words, "I should not have looked into the well." Beneath it, a sketch of her own face, eyes blacked out. The janitor, an elderly black man named Elijah, lingered by the stairs. "You ain't the first to dig up that box," he said. 3 others this year, all gone now. He pointed to a faded 1947 newspaper on the wall. "Local historian vanishes near Spangler Spring." The photo showed a man holding the same journal. Elijah's voice dropped. "That book's cursed. It wants to be found." As Lena flipped through the journal, a dried, mummified finger fell outwrapped in a scrap of Union uniform. The nail was painted with modern chipped polish. Daniel's? Then the flashlight died. In the dark, something scratched against the lockbox. A whisper. "You'll need both hands to climb out." When the lights flickered back on, the finger was gone. Tucked in the journal's back flap was a Civil War-era tintype. It showed a Union officer standing beside a well. At first, the figure was blurred, but as Lena stared, his face sharpened into Daniel's. then hers. The well in the photo began to overflow with black liquid. The date etched at the bottom. October 31st, 1863, the day after Pickett's charge. Lena fled upstairs only to find the exit door locked. Scratched into the wood was a fresh message. The well is hungry. It remembers your voice. Her phone buzzed. A notification. One new voicemail. She played it. A wet, choking gasp her own followed by a splash. The air in Gettysburg hung thick with the promise of rain. The sky bruised purple as Lena stood at the edge of the battlefield. The town had emptied locals, locking doors early, whispering about Watcher's Night. Even the reenactors were gone. Only the dead remained. Her phone buzzed. A weather alert. Blood moon visible tonight after 11 p.m. Below it, a second notification, a missed call from her own number. At first, they looked like fireflies' soft, golden flickers in the distance. Then they swelled, pulsing in unison, forming a line across the field, the ghost lights. They moved against the wind, weaving between monuments like a regiment on patrol. Lena raised her camera. Through the lens, the lights weren't lights at all. They were eyes glowing and lidless, attached to shadows that slithered just beyond sight. She played the voicemail. Static, then gunfire, horses screaming. A man's voice, raw with terror. They're in the trees. God save us. A wet crunch. Silence. The call log showed it lasted 4 minutes. The timestamp. July 3rd, 1863. 3:17 p.m. The height of Pickett's charge. The lights surged toward her. The ground dropped away, and she was there. The battlefield, but alive. Smoke, blood, men sobbing. A Union soldier grabbed her, his fingers rotting as he touched her. You have to stop them, he begged. They're digging the... Something yanked her back. She was on the ground, gasping, her clothes damp with 1863 mud. She woke in her bed, heart pounding. Safe? A dream? Then she saw her phone. 14 missed calls, all from her number. The last voicemail was just heavy breathing. Then a whisper, "You're already here." The mirror reflected the room behind her, except her bed was empty, and the window showed daylight. Under her pillow, Lena found a mini ball, still warm, engraved on it. The well is deeper than you think. Dr. Eli Grant's office smelled of pipe smoke and old paper, the walls lined with framed battlefield maps and glass cases of rusted bullets. He poured 2 fingers of bourbon, his hands steady, but his eyes darting to the door as Lena placed Daniel's journal on his desk. "You shouldn't have this," he said, but his fingers lingered on the cover like a lover's. The watchers don't like their business being recorded. Grant slid a daguerreotype across the desk. The image showed a Union private, his face gaunt with exhaustion, but the features were unmistakably Lena's. The name scrawled beneath, P.V.T. L. Carter, 72nd Pennsylvania. This was taken in 1863, Grant said. You recognize the uniform? Lena's throat tightened. She did. It was the same one from her vision on the battlefield. Grant leaned in. The lights aren't just ghosts. They're wardens. The Confederates didn't just dig a well, they fed people to it. Prisoners, their own men. Something answered. And now it demands replacements. He tapped the photo. You've been marked. That's why Daniel's journal called to you. The Watchers chose you. A knock. Grant's assistant, Sarah, entered with coffee, then froze at the sight of the daguerreotype. Eli, you promised. Her words cut off as her nose began to bleed. Then her eyes. The coffee cup shattered as she convulsed, her skin splitting like old paper. The last thing to burn away were her screams and the stench of sulfur. Grant didn't flinch. They don't like loose ends. Grant gripped Lena's wrist. His fingers were cold as grave dirt. There's a way out. Give them Holloway. His soul for yours. He opened a drawer, revealing a yellowed contract in spidery script names signed in blood. The most recent, Daniel Reeves. Lena fled into the night straight, into a figure blocking the door. Not Grant, not alive. The Union soldier from her vision, his jaw unhinged, his voice a wet rasp. Lena, you're late. The wind howled through Gettysburg National Cemetery, rattling the iron fences like bones in a cage. Lena's flashlight beam cut through the fog, illuminating row after row of weathered headstones, until it stopped at one. Unknown Union soldier. The earth in front of it was freshly disturbed, as if something had clawed its way out. Holloway's voice echoed in her memory. They're digging the... She knelt. The dirt was still warm. Lena's fingers brushed metal in the soil. A modern military dog tag. She wiped away the mud, and her blood turned to ice. Carter, Lena M. SVC number 32871863. The birth date was hers. The service number matched a Union regiment from 1863. Asterisk deeper in the grave, she found bones, but they were wrong. The skull had 2 bullet holes, one from a mini ball, the other from a 9mm. The rib cage held a Union button and a shred of fabric from her jacket. Asterisk. A whisper from the dark. You've been here before. A shadow loomed. Dr. Grant, holding a rusted Confederate officer's sword. My great-great-grandfather buried the first sacrifice here, he said. Holloway's lieutenant. You're just the latest. He raised the sword, then froze. The bones in the grave rattled. A skeletal hand shot up, gripping his ankle. The ground swallowed him whole. The fog coalesced into Lieutenant James Holloway, his uniform half-rotted, his eyes full of fire. The well doesn't just take lives, he said. It takes time. It's been feeding on you for centuries. He pointed to the dog tag. That's not yours. It's hers. Behind him, a spectral figure materialized, a Union soldier with Lena's face. Holloway pressed the dog tag into her palm. The metal burned. The dates shifted. Carter, Lena Ma. Died October 31st, 1863. Died October 31st, 2023. The same night. The same curse. The echo well yawned before Lena, a jagged mouth of crumbling stone exhaling the scent of wet earth and gunpowder. The ghost light swirled above it in a slow, hypnotic spiral. Not lanterns now, but hundreds of eyes, lidless and glowing. The air vibrated with a sound like distant artillery, growing louder as she approached. Holloway's warning hissed in her memory. It doesn't talk, it eats. A figure emerged from the mist, Daniel, pale but whole, his camera slung around his neck. "Lena, thank God you're here," he gasped, reaching for her. "I found a way to break the curse. We have to burn Holloway's remains." Then she saw it. His left pinky was missing, just like the mummified finger in Daniel's journal. Lena stepped back. "You're not Daniel." The thing wearing Daniel's face twitched, and its jaw unhinged, stretching impossibly wide as Holloway's voice rasped out. "No, but he screamed so prettily when I took his skin." The illusion melted like candle wax, revealing Holloway beneath his Union uniform, stitched together with strands of Daniel's hair. Behind him, the ghost lights pulsed in approval. A flicker of movement in the trees. Lena turned and saw Daniel's real body half buried in leaves, his mouth sewn shut with rusted wire, his eyelids crudely stitched open, so he wouldn't stop watching. Holloway whispered, "The Watcher's like an audience." Holloway pressed a bone knife into her hand. "The curse needs a new warden. Sign your name in the well's water." With his blood, he pointed at Daniel's corpse. "Or join him." The ghost lights descended, forming a cage around her. In their glow, she saw other faces: photographers, historians, soldiers, all trapped in the spiral, all watching. Lena gripped the knife. The well's water turned black, reflecting not her face, but Holloway's. A voice echoed from the depths. "Welcome home." Lena woke to the sterile hum of fluorescent lights, the sharp scent of antiseptic burning her nostrils. A hospital. She was safe. Bandages wrapped her hands burns from the fire, though she couldn't remember flames. A nurse smiled, adjusting her fore. "You're lucky to be alive," she said. Outside the window, sunlight streamed over Gettysburg's rooftops. Then Lena saw it. The nurse's reflection in the window wasn't moving. Lena ripped out the fore and stumbled to the window. The sunlit town below was a still image, like a painted backdrop. The nurse's voice dripped with static. "Rest, Lena. You've earned it." She turned and the hospital melted away, revealing the battlefield at midnight. The ghost lights swarmed above her, forming a grinning face. The Watchers had let her think she escaped. Holloway emerged from the mist, his uniform now fused with Daniel's skin, like a grotesque patchwork. "You are always ours," he said, offering the bone knife again. "Sign or join the lights." Lena lunged not at Holloway, but at the Confederate flag buried in the dirt beside the well. It was brittle with age, but the stains were fresh. She struck a match. The flame spread unnaturally fast, consuming the flag and then the well itself. The ghost lights screamed, winking out one by one. Holloway collapsed into rot, whispering, "See you soon." Lena woke to the sound of a car door slamming. A woman's voice. This is where they found the camera. A new journalist, Mara, picked up Lena's abandoned camera. The last photo flickered to life on the screen. Lena standing amid Union soldiers, her eyes hollow, her mouth sewn shut. The timestamp, October 31st, 11:59 p.m. Behind Mara, a lantern flickered to life in the empty field. A news report played on a motel TV. Another disappearance at Gettysburg National Park. The victim, a history student, was last seen near Spangler Spring. The date on the screen matched Lena's first day in town.